everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're going to be exploring the invisible threads that weave our entire natural world together. We're going to start incredibly small, literally so small you can't even see it, and then we'll zoom all the way out to massive global environments. It's basically a journey from the microscopic engines of life all the way to the vast biomes that cover our planet. So, here is the big question we're tackling today. How do invisible organisms and massive biomes interact to shape our world? Just think about that for a second. We're talking about organisms so tiny they measure in micrometers, interacting with environments so massive they cover whole continents. How do these two extremes influence one another over time? And how do the physical structures of animals actually allow them to survive in these massive biomes? Well, that's exactly the scientific puzzle we're going to put together right now. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap. 1. The microscopic world. 2. Plant survival and adaptations. 3. Modeling the food web. 4. Populations and biomes. And finally, 5. Human impact on ecosystems. Starting right off with Section 1, the microscopic world. You know, there's a really common misconception out there that all microbes are just dangerous germs. But honestly, a microbe is simply a very small or simple organism. We're talking about things like bacteria or protists, and they can have surprisingly large effects on human health and vast ecosystems. When we use the word microbe, we're talking about life that forms the absolute foundation of our world. Because you can't see them, it's so easy to forget they even exist. But make no mistake, these incredibly simple organisms are the secret, silent engines running almost everything around us. They're working right now in the soil outside your window, and yep, they're working right now inside your own stomach. So it's a bit of a balancing act, because microbes play dual roles, and we interact with both kinds every single day. We've got beneficial microbes, like those gut bacteria currently helping you digest your breakfast, or the microscopic decomposers outside breaking down fallen leaves and recycling essential nutrients back into the soil. We literally could not survive without them. On the flip side, we have harmful microbes. These are the viruses that give you the common cold or disease-causing bacteria that make us sick. Understanding this fundamental balance is really the first step in understanding how life operates at every single scale. Moving right along to Section 2, Plant Survival and Adaptations. Now, what's really fascinating here is how an organism's physical structure is a direct response to the environment it lives in. It's a perfect adaptation for survival. For example, deep roots aren't just a random occurrence, right? They exist in dry, arid biomes, so a plant can reach far underground to tap into hidden water sources. Broadleaves act exactly like giant solar panels in low-light environments, maximizing the capture of whatever little sunlight filters through the forest canopy. And that thick, waxy coating you might see on desert plants, that's a protective seal meant to prevent precious water from just evaporating into the hot air. Every physical structure has a highly specific survival function, and as we're going to see next, this is just as true for the animals that eat them. All right, Section 3, Modeling the Food Web. Let's walk through a basic food web together, step by step. Just imagine your local park. Step 1, the sun shines down, providing the initial energy for the entire system. Step 2, producers, which are our plants and grasses, capture that solar energy and turn it into food through photosynthesis. Now, Step 3 is where consumers enter the picture, and this is where animal adaptations are absolutely vital. A deer doesn't just eat plants. It relies on highly specialized flat teeth designed specifically for grinding tough plant fibers, and a complex multi-chambered stomach to actually digest them. Without these specific physical structures, the animal just cannot survive, and the energy flow stops dead in its tracks. Finally, Step 4 is where we come full circle. Decomposers, those microbes we talked about earlier, break down the waste from the consumers, recycling those nutrients right back into the soil for the producers. It's just a perfect continuous loop of energy. Let's zoom out and see how this builds in Section 4, Populations and Biomes. Our Earth is incredibly diverse. It's broken into distinct biomes like forests, deserts, grasslands, the freezing tundra, and aquatic regions. And because these environments are so vastly different, they require entirely different survival tools. Let's practice a claim, evidence, and reasoning, or CER model here to see how this works for animals. Claim: an Arctic fox's physical structure supports its survival in the freezing tundra biome. Evidence: it has thick, multi-layered white fur and very small ears. Reasoning: the thick fur traps body heat, the small ears prevent unnecessary heat loss, and the white color provides essential camouflage against the snow to hide from predators. A fox with massive ears and thin brown fur simply wouldn't survive there. Different biomes require entirely different structural adaptations. So, the crucial point is that within any of these biomes, we constantly have to balance a growing population against available natural resources. In any ecosystem, natural resources like water, food, and shelter are strictly limited. If a population of consumers grows too large, competition spikes. And this is exactly where those physical adaptations get put to the test. The animals with the most advantageous structural adaptations for their specific environment are going to successfully secure those limited resources, while others will not. It's a fundamental law of life science. Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Human Impact on Ecosystems. Objectively speaking, human impacts evaluate out into a few distinct areas. As our population grows, resource consumption and depletion inevitably increase. We just require more water, land, and energy. We also see habitat alteration and destruction, which usually happens when we build new cities or farms. This directly changes the original food webs and forces animals to either adapt quickly or face the consequences. There's also the pollution of air, water, and soil, which affects everything from microscopic soil microbes to massive mammals. But on the flip side, we have conservation and restoration efforts. Scientists and everyday citizens actively evaluate these ecosystems to restore habitats and protect endangered animal populations. We really do play a role on all sides of the equation. Well, that brings us to the end of our journey today, but I want to leave you with an exit ticket. Based on everything we covered, if a single type of beneficial microbe disappeared from your local biome today, how would it affect the entire food web by tomorrow? Or think about it this way. If that same local biome suddenly experienced a drastic drop in temperature over a few years, how might the physical structures of the consumer animals living there determine whether their population survives? Think about those invisible threads of cause and effect. If the environment changes, what happens to the animals that rely on specific adaptations? Thank you so much for exploring this incredible topic with me. Keep asking questions, keep looking at the evidence, and I really hope you never stop being curious about the world around you. Catch you next time.